Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this Blitz chess postmortem video. This is a postmortem of my Blitz chess game number 62, where I kicked off with d4 and my opponent played the Marshall defense, although he played it in a slightly unusual move order. Usually d4 or d5 is how the Marshall defense starts out. But he started with knight f6, I play c4, and then he played d5. So this is the Marshall defense. It's just normally the move order is different. Normally the pawn is there first, and then when I play c4, he plays knight f6 to defend the pawn. This is not considered the best defense for black, and there is some trick. I think if you take right away, black can play a gambit with e5. So the typical way it's played is knight f3 first, and then on the next move you're planning to take that pawn and then harass whatever piece comes back to take it. If it's a knight, you can kick it with the move e4, and if it's a queen, then you can kick it with the move knight to c3. So that's why it's not considered the best defense. It involves a loss of tempo. But this move bishop f5 my opponent played, you see it's not the usual continuation here, and so maybe it's okay to play it this way. I can no longer play e5. Looks like e3 was the most common move here, but we're pretty much out of the book in a way. So I looked at this with the chess engine, and the engine thought that the way I was playing was okay. So in the opening at least. Now there are going to be some tactics later on in this game, so I'm going to leave the engine turned off, and we'll just talk about the game, and I'll be able to quiz you without having the engine give the answer away here. So I just developed the knight, putting more pressure on the center there. He defends it, and then I play e3 so that if he ever takes, I can take back with the bishop. And he keeps developing pieces, and so do I. We both castle, c6, and then I play knight d2. So this is part of a plan, knight d2, f4, and then eventually a knight e5. And I have to admit the computer does not approve of this plan, so maybe a more typical plan would be to just move the knight to a square where it can harass this bishop and cause trouble that way. More typical in this kind of position, probably better. But this is a plan too, and it doesn't lose, so you can play it. And right about here, yeah, after this move, pawn takes e4. That was actually a mistake, and so it's white's turn to move, and there's a tactic here. So what's the best move for white? And obviously it's not the move I played. This is a missed tactic. Okay, if you don't spot it right away, why don't you pause the video and look at it? It's not a difficult tactic to see, so you might have spotted it already. But I'm going to go ahead and give the answer away, so pause the video now if you want to think about it some. The answer is g4, just hitting that bishop. And it's got nowhere to go. If it retreats here, you can just push f5, pawn takes. The rook supports the pawn, and the bishop and queen cover this square. So this bishop is just trapped after the move g4, and the computer even recommends giving up the bishop right away with a move like that. But then black is just a bishop down and white is winning. So totally, well, it's funny, I had this idea of trapping the bishop or harassing it, and I played the move h3, but it's just not necessary. I could, for one thing, g4 is supported by the bishop and the queen, so I can just play it right away. Even if it wasn't trapping the bishop, there's no need to play h3 to support it. It's well supported already. And then secondly, when I play h3, it gives my opponent the chance to play h6. Now the bishop has a square to escape to. So the game continues on. And aside from these blunders, the computer thinks it's more or less even. It goes back and forth between in favor of white versus in favor of black. And I'm just slowly building up my king side attack here. And he's counterpunching in the center as a logical plan. And right here, after rook a d1, I play queen c2, and now there's a great tactic for black. This is maybe a little bit trickier than the last one, but it's still not too hard to see. So take a look at this situation on the board here. You're black. What would you like to play here? What do you think a good move is? Okay, if you want more time to consider this, pause the video and think about it. I'm going to give the answer away right now. It is rook takes bishop. So the idea with this one is if I take back, then he can push the pawn. And there's a tempo here because the bishop is attacking the queen, so the queen has to move. And when the queen moves, then the pawn takes the rook. So it was a double attack. So he gives up the exchange here. If you look at the whole tactic in action, it's rook takes d4. He's giving up the exchange, but he plays a check, and then now I have to move the queen, and then he picks up a whole rook. And so if you look at this position, I have a rook in 2 pieces, and he's got a rook in 3 pieces. So he's a whole piece up. Plus my king side is somewhat insecure here, and he can continue the attack. So all in all, this is a great position for black. So I could have won early, and then now my opponent could have won. I could have won in this position, and he could have won in this position. And we both missed our chances. And so the game wanders on. I think the computer prefers black through this part here. I guess because knight infiltrating to d3 is a pretty good square for it. I had to give up my bishop for that knight. And now he's got a pawn here that's in my territory. It's pretty well supported. So he's been playing well up until this point, and the computer just thinks bishop f6 is a mistake. Takes a while. I mean, if I don't take the bishop, then it's, he's got a good attack with bishop takes and rook takes. And so I pretty much am forced to take that bishop, but it weakens his king side structure and gives my knight a square over here where it can't be chased away. So I can always cause trouble now along this diagonal with my queen and the knight coordinating on those 2 squares. So that was just a mistake. And then I slowly increased my advantage through this part. And then with f5, turns out the computer says I could have taken here as well, and would have still been a pawn up. But f5 is even stronger. It just locks in this bishop, so this bishop can't participate in the game at all. And there's really no way for him to stop me from winning more material at this point. So here is one more comment from the computer. I went ahead and exchanged queens. The computer thinks it's stronger to keep the queens on. Just play queen to d2, which would be eyeing this pawn over here. And yeah, I can see that might be good. If the king comes up to defend, then I have this move knight to h4 check, driving the king away. So I think he can't really defend that pawn. So that might have been a stronger way to play. But just getting the queens off, and I know that this pawn is weak, and it's just a matter of time for me to round it up because I can get my pieces there quicker than him. And there's just one more instructive slip in this game, which comes right here. So it's white's turn to move, and black just played this move h5, undermining my pawn structure on the queen side. And I just ignored that threat and played my king over here. And now black can get a decent game, not losing at least, by just taking that pawn. And if I take back, he can bring his rook over here and then start harassing my king from this side. And so this turns out to be very good, well, about even. It turns out that it gives away. In this position, I'm pretty much winning. And after this, black has got chances to draw, and the computer rates it as close to even. So what should I play in this position? Well, he ends up forcing me to play this move in the next move, and you'll see it. He comes over here, and now I realize I can't let him open up the rook file here. It'll cause some trouble, and I play the move g5. I started to say g4, and it came out kind of 4 or 5. So that was g5. And it's what I should have played in this position here. When it's he goes here, it's my move. If I play g5 in this position, then his rook can't come over and cause trouble. His king is locked out of these squares. And I still have this plan of coming over and rounding up this pawn. I just need to defer it for a move and deal with the threats over here. So that's how easy a game can go from a win to a draw, because I was pretty confident I was just winning here. And just one imprecise move and your opponent can be let back in the game. But now it really is all over after g5. He brings his rook back, but I can grab this pawn, and he really has no counterplay at this point. So he resigned. It was a good game, couple of interesting tactics there, and I'm a little rusty after having not played too much last week or so. So I hope you'll forgive the blunders, and hope they made for an instructive game. And leave any comments you have in the section below, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.